Your dog isn't untrainable. Your dog is unreachable, and those are two very different things. When a dog is living with chronic anxiety, their brain is not in learning mode, it's in survival mode. And those two modes are fundamentally incompatible. If your dog's biology isn't addressed first, training will always have a ceiling. The dog you thought couldn't be trained is almost always a dog whose brain was never in the right state to learn. If you've ever stood in your kitchen, treat in hand, repeating the same command for the 100th time while your dog just stares at you, this video is for you. Maybe you've tried classes, maybe you've watched every training video on the internet, maybe you've even hired a professional trainer and still felt like you were getting nowhere. And at some point, a thought crept in that you didn't want to admit. Maybe my dog just can't be trained. And I want to talk about that today, because in all of my years as a veterinarian, I've heard this from so many owners, and almost every single time they were wrong. Not about the struggle was completely real, but about the reason behind it. Your dog isn't untrainable. Your dog is unreachable, and those are two very different things. Training is essentially an act of information transfer. You're trying to get something from your brain into your dog's brain. And when that process isn't working, most people assume the problem is the method. So they try a different method, or they try harder, or they try more often. But what if the problem isn't the method at all? What if the signal is fine, but something is blocking it from getting through? Here's what I mean. When a dog is living with chronic anxiety, their brain is not in learning mode, it's in survival mode. And those two modes are fundamentally incompatible. In a calm, balanced dog, the prefrontal cortex is active and engaged. That's the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, learning, and retaining new information. That dog can hear you. They can process what you're asking. They can make the connection between the command and the reward. But in an anxious dog, the amygdala is running the show. That's the brain's alarm system. It's constantly scanning for threats. It's flooding the body with stress hormones. And then what's happening? The learning centers of the brain are effectively pushed offline. You can repeat a command 1,000 times, but if your dog's nervous system is stuck in a state of chronic stress, it's like trying to have a conversation with someone in the middle of a panic attack. The words aren't going in. It's not stubbornness, it's not defiance, it's biology. This is actually backed by research. Studies have shown that anxious dogs have measurably less activity in the regions of the brain responsible for processing and retaining new information. The anxiety circuit is consuming so much of the brain's resources that there simply isn't enough left over for learning. And this explains something a lot of frustrated owners describe. Their dog seems to respond perfectly at home in a calm environment with no distractions, but the minute there's any stimulation, any stress, any unfamiliar environment, it all falls apart. That's not inconsistency. That's a brain that can only access its learning capacity when the threat level is low enough. Push that threat level up, even slightly, and the anxiety circuit takes over, and learning stops completely. So what does this mean for training? It means that if your dog's biology isn't addressed first, training will always have a ceiling. It might work sometimes, in the right conditions, on a good day, with the right treat, but it won't be reliable, and it won't stick. This is the piece that most trainers, even very good ones, aren't in a position to address, because they're working with behaviour, and behaviour is downstream of biology. The starting point has to be getting your dog's nervous system out of survival mode, bringing those stress hormones down, supporting the endocannabinoid system, the ECS, which is your dog's internal regulator for stress and emotional balance. When the ECS is functioning properly, the anxiety circuit quiets down. And when that happens, the learning centers of the brain come back online. One of the most effective ways I've found to support the ECS in dogs is through a high-quality, full-spectrum CBD oil. And the reason it works so well for trainability specifically comes down to this. Full-spectrum CBD interacts directly with the CB1 receptors in the ECS. Those receptors are concentrated heavily in the brain and central nervous system. When they're activated, the anxiety circuit starts to slow down. Cortisol drops, the amygdala stops dominating, and the prefrontal cortex, the learning brain, starts to come back online. It's not sedation. Your dog isn't zoned out or disconnected. They're just finally calm enough to actually hear you. This is exactly why I developed Happy Forever Oil with the team at Pure Origins. I needed something I could recommend to owners whose dogs were stuck in this cycle. Not to replace training, but to create the biological conditions where training could actually work. If you want to learn more or try it with your dog, you can find it at pureorigins.com. The link is in the description. But alongside supporting the ECS, there are some practical things that will dramatically improve your results once that biological foundation is in place. Think of these as a simple checklist you can come back to. Number 1, keep sessions short. An anxious dog in the early stages of recovery has a limited window of genuine receptiveness. 5 focused positive minutes is worth more than 40 frustrating ones. You're building the capacity for learning gradually, so don't try to rush it. Number 2, keep the pressure low. The moment training feels threatening or stressful, the amygdala fires and learning stops. Everything about the session should feel safe, calm, and rewarding. This is why positive reinforcement isn't just a preference for anxious dogs, it's a biological requirement. Aversive methods raise cortisol and activate the very circuit you're trying to shut down. Number 3, be consistent. A dog whose nervous system is dysregulated relies heavily on predictability to feel safe. The same commands, the same rewards, the same routine. Consistency isn't just good training practice. For an anxious dog, it's part of the therapy. Number 4, be patient with the timeline. When you address the biology and pair it with the right approach, most owners start to see real change. But it happens in layers. First, the dog becomes calmer generally, then they become more present during training. Then the commands start to stick, then the reliability builds. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. The dog you thought couldn't be trained is almost always a dog whose brain was never in the right state to learn. Give them that state, and then watch what they're actually capable of. If this video helped you see your dog differently, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. There's a good chance someone in your life has a dog who's been written off as untrainable, and this could be exactly what they need to hear. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It sounds like a small thing, but it's genuinely how we reach the people who need this the most. I'll see you next time. Until then, give your furry friend a lot of cuddles from me.